Listen to me, okay? Like, first of all, anyone who supports Palestinians are going to be branded as supporting Hamas. And secondly, you still can't fucking do that, okay? It's ridiculous. What do you mean? You just can't be like, all right, sorry, RIP. Oh, you're supporting the IRA. You're going to get deported. Ridiculous.
Palestinian group.
All right. Let's see what Philip had to say about
It is
this.
trying to deport a well-known Palestinian activist despite him having a green card, the first of what Trump has promised will be many, and it sparked a massive scandal. What you need to know about Canada's incoming Prime Minister, Mark Carney, including his first words for Donald Trump. Drewski and OBJ have issued quick denials after just being named in a Diddy lawsuit. We're talking about all that and much more on today's brand new Philip DeFranco Show. You daily dive into the news, how it's being covered, and how people are reacting to it. But first, a quick announcement. I just made an awesome mini March drop live for you over at beautifulbastard.com, where right now you can snag yourself a green card, a move that many experts say is a violation of free speech rights under the First Amendment. Right? And this is also incredibly significant because it appears to mark the first publicly known arrest under Trump's broader promise to revoke student visas and deport non-citizen students who joined pro-Palestine campus protests last year, with him claiming that the students no longer had the right to stay in the country because they supported Hamas. And while this is something that Trump has been promising for a while, this latest news notably comes after he brought this whole thing to the next level last week with him writing on Truth Social. All federal funding will stop for any college, school, or legal protests. Agitators will be imprisoned or permanently sent back to the country from which they came. And adding American students will be permanently expelled or, depending on the crime, arrested. Though this, as many have noted—
Don't change the Drewski story. Dude, I think the claims being made against Drewski in a court document where they literally call him Drewski and not his government name were made about him potentially going to a Diddy party in 2018 when Drewski was not a famous person. It, like, people need to be a little bit more careful with whatever they see on Twitter, okay? Drewski's response: this allegation is a fabricated lie. I wasn't a public figure in 2018. I was broke, living with my mom without any connections to the entertainment industry at the time of this allegation. So the inclusion of my name is truly outlandish. My heart breaks for actual victims of abuse, but I'm fully confident that the evidence will expose this falsehood and the individuals who are maliciously trying to game the legal system that peddle false narratives. Yeah, and there's also like basically memes. Like I saw some of the insane shit. Is a government name and a stage name. But Clout, they called them both. It literally says a government name and Drewski. It's a government name and a stage name. Yeah. Also, perhaps more importantly, is the fact that defendant Drewski then caught himself sliding over plaintiff's oiled body and off the bed while defendant Drewski's 2018, they invited him, though. What? Like, I don't know if there's Hasan, don't do this, man. I'll wait for the trial. His behavior has always been odd to me. Yeah, I agree with that. His behavior being odd. Wait, they do name him and it happened in 2021? Okay, if it happened recently, then that's different. If it happened in 2018, it's ridiculous. Obviously, nobody's inviting Drewski in 2018. Can we litigate this later? We were talking about the erosion of the First Amendment rights. Yes. Okay. We'll get back to it in a second. It just smelled weird to me. That's all I'm saying. Hasan believed what he read on Twitter. Wait, what? No, I read some of the pieces that they put forth in the accusations, and there is I said this about the Jay-Z stuff too, chat. Jay-Z, not a fan. Okay. Not a big fan of Jay-Z, and he has literally been very famous and very powerful and very wealthy for quite some time. And not only that, but he certainly went to Diddy parties, okay? Having said that, the allegations that were launched against him, in spite of all of that, came across as a little, it just, you know, it didn't smell right. That's all I'm saying. And I felt the same way about I felt the same way about these allegations, or some of that, at least what I've seen. And I'll cover it extensively afterwards. This is not a defense of Drewski. I don't give a fuck about defending Drewski, okay? Calm down. Yeah, I watched Should Have Been Loved. That doesn't mean that I'm going to entertain someone who allegedly did heinous crimes at a Diddy party, okay? Let's continue.
That the White House hasn't really clarified what they consider to be an illegal protest, given the fact that these activities are usually protected under the First Amendment.
Also, once again, we're quite literally talking about the American government undermining First Amendment rights, possibly taking away the green card status of an American lawful resident, lawful legal resident. And, you know, you're over here being like, talk about, someone is in the chat being like, talk about Ayup Lovely. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? We're doing news right now, okay? We'll get to other shit later.
But regardless, the administration has made it clear that Colombia is its first major target, with it announcing on Friday that it had canceled $400 million in grants and contracts to the school, and now going after one of the most prominent protest leaders there. And specifically, the activist in question.
Yeah, a judge temporarily blocked the deportation. I know. I already covered it. A federal judge has temporarily blocked Trump administration efforts to deport a Palestinian activist who helped lead the protests at Columbia University.
A former Columbia graduate student with Palestinian heritage who graduated with a master's in December. And while he was still at the university last year, he became a leader of the protest movement, with Khalil describing his role to reporters as a negotiator and spokesman for the school's pro-Palestine.
I don't agree with him. I don't agree with supporting, but if he's supporting Palestine, that's the right me and my boys fought for. Bro, even like Patriot HVAC services, listen to me, okay? Like, first of all, anyone who supports Palestinians are going to be branded as supporting. And secondly, you still can't do that, okay? It's ridiculous. What do you mean? You just can't be like, all right, sorry, RIP. Oh, you're supporting the IRA. You're going to get deported. Ridiculous.
Palestinian group. And according to a statement from his lawyer, Amy Greer, over the weekend, Khalil was stopped by ICE agents who told him his student visa had been revoked, and saying that when he told them that he was a lawful permanent resident with a green card because his wife is a U.S. citizen, they detained him anyway. And this is, Greer also said that she doesn't know where Khalil's even being held. But they're saying that she was told Sunday morning that he was being detained in Elizabeth, New Jersey, a fact that was also listed on an ICE detainee locator website, but then adding, when his wife, a U.S. citizen who is 8 months pregnant and was threatened with arrest as well by the ICE agents last night, tried to visit him there today, she was told he is not detained there. And so now you have Greer saying she received reports that he may have been transferred as far away as Louisiana. And several outlets have also since reported that records suggest that Khalil is indeed being held in custody in Louisiana. The attorney then going on to say that she has filed a habeas corpus petition on Khalil's behalf, challenging his arrest and detention, and adding, "We will vigorously be pursuing Mahmoud's rights."
Yeah, Glenn Greenwald is correct on this, by the way. Also, just a quick First Amendment review. People are allowed to praise whoever they want. I can stand up every day and say I love it. I can argue it's the right to use violence to resist Israel. I can urge the U.S. to nuke Iran or Peru. This is called free speech. This guy. Non-citizens don't get the benefits of the Bill of Rights. The Constitution is for U.S. citizens. That's ridiculous.
In court, and we'll continue our efforts to right this terrible and inexcusable and calculated wrong committed against him. And with that, saying that the arrest follows the U.S. government's open repression of student activism and political speech, specifically targeting students at Columbia University for criticism of Israel's assault on Gaza, and adding the U.S. government has made clear that they will use immigration enforcement as a tool to suppress that speech. But as far as exactly why Khalil's being detained, that remains unclear right now. Right now, with that, I'll say in a statement last night, a spokeswoman for the Department of Homeland Security said that he was arrested in, quote, support of President Trump's executive orders prohibiting anti-Semitism, adding Khalil led activities aligned to a designated terrorist organization, and saying ICE and the Department of State are committed to enforcing President Trump's executive orders and to protecting U.S. national security. With also Secretary of State Marco Rubio sharing a link on X to an AP article about Khalil and writing, "We will be revoking the visas and or green cards of supporters in America so they can be deported." And then today we saw Trump himself chiming in on Truth Social, writing that Khalil had been apprehended and that his arrest was just the first of many to come, and adding that his administration knows of more students who have engaged in what he called pro-terrorist, anti-Semitic, anti-American activity, and claiming without evidence there that many are not students, they are paid agitators. With Trump then going on to say, "We will find, apprehend, and deport these sympathizers from our country, never to return again." But very notably here, none of those official statements have said what specific crimes Khalil had actually been charged with. And that ends up being super significant because experts say that it is true that DHS can revoke green cards and deport their holders for a wide range of criminal activity, including support for a terror group. And while the agency's statement seems to indicate that they are trying to revoke his green card on those grounds, it's been widely reported, including in the same AP article Rubio shared, that
this is completely ridiculous, by the way, just for the record. Okay? If you are a green card holder or even legally on U.S. soil, you still have a right to a trial, and you also still can express free speech. Like, what do you mean? It is ridiculous. It is completely ridiculous. The idea that you could just like not do any of those things is, or that the American government has a right to do this is fucking insane, okay? Yeah, here, Glenn Greenwald is right on this as well. It's really alarming how many Americans falsely think the U.S. Constitution only applies to U.S. citizens. It is a restriction on U.S. government actions. and applies to all people legally on U.S. soil. Otherwise, even people illegally on U.S. soil, actually, as a matter of fact. But definitely to all people legally on U.S. soil. Otherwise, the U.S. government could mass arrest all tourists who it concludes has bad views. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, we're just going to torture you guys because we decided that we don't like what you have to say. Yeah, Noah literally just texted me as you. Oh my God, that's so funny. Noah just texted me this as chat also tweeted it at me, or chat sent me this tweet. Your moment of zen. Please close the Overton. It's Crackhead Barbie with Norm Finkelstein at a release Mahmoud Khalil protest in New York.
Khalil hasn't actually been charged with a crime. Right? And according to the AP, his arrest appears to stem from an investigation by a Columbia University office that has brought disciplinary charges against many, with Khalil potentially facing sanctions for helping to organize a, quote, unauthorized marching event where participants glorified Hamas's October 7th attack, as well as playing what they called a substantial role in circulating social media posts criticizing Zionism in addition to other acts of alleged discrimination. But as of right now, from what we've seen, those are just allegations under investigation. And even if he's found to be culpable, we're talking about disciplinary action from the university, not necessarily anything with actual immediate legal implications. Which is why with all this, you have so many experts questioning the legality of this move and some just calling it blatantly unconstitutional. Right? And so with all this, we've seen many arguing that he's just being detained for protesting and expressing views protected by free speech, and that criticism notably has even come from within the halls of Columbia. We're seeing the director of the Immigrants' Rights Clinic at Columbia Law School saying that revoking Khalil's green card in retaliation for his public speech, that is prohibited by the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. With one legal expert even going a step further, telling CBS, if he's a green card holder, slam dunk, there's no way.
Free speech has never been a thing, so why are we focusing on this? Is free speech for the ruling class? That's what it's always been. Chad, should watch a cuck philosophy video on it? Yeah, that's really stupid, okay? I understand that, and I understand how historically this is not applied, but it doesn't matter because the principle is still there. The theory is still there. You should use it to try and defend people from being falsely fucking detained and deported, okay? Like, this is the thing that I don't understand. The institutions that remain for the time being should still be used to stop, to mitigate further harm. Like, what are we talking about? I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, in theory, free speech actually has never been applied towards those who have any sort of like radical changes that are at the behest of the public, especially when they're directly against the interests of capital or whatever. Yeah, I know. I know that. You think I don't know that? Of course I fucking know that. It doesn't matter. You think I give a fuck about, for example, the structural hurdles that the Democratic Party had to withstand with regular frequency when they were in charge? No, I urged them to boulder over it. But now that they're not in charge, I will actively urge them to use those same structural hurdles to limit the scope and power of the Republican fascist administration. While they're there, you should use them, you know? I abhor gun violence. I'm not a fan of gun violence, but if someone's fucking, coming into my house trying to kill me and I got a gun, I'm probably going to use it, okay?
To arrest him. He had not been charged with a crime, or if he's, if there's something more than that, really there's no way. Number one, because you're dealing with a legal resident alien, which means you're dealing with the green card holder who has a lot of rights in our country. Right? And this is, you've had others questioning what legal authority the Trump administration would even have to revoke green cards, noting that usually such an action would require a hearing before an immigration judge. But then, of course, beyond what the experts have been saying, we've also seen a massive reaction to the arrest online, with one example being a petition for his release getting more than 1 million signatures online as of recording. Many also slamming the move in posts, including big names like Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who tweeted, if the federal government can disappear a legal U.S. permanent resident without reason or warrant, then they can disappear U.S. citizens too. Anyone, left, right, or center, who has highlighted the importance of constitutional rights and free speech should be sounding the alarm now. And to her point there, we've seen people across the political spectrum raising concerns. I mean, for example, you even had right-wing Ann Coulter tweeting, there's almost no one I don't want to deport, but unless they've committed a crime, isn't this a violation of the First Amendment? But also, very notably on the other side, we've seen plenty of people and groups praising this move, including the Columbia Jewish Alumni Association, which applauded Khalil's detention in a...
It's so disgusting, dude. It's so shameless. Like, supporting a fascist administration doing Gestapo-style shit as a Jewish organization is insane, dude. You are so cooked, brother. You are so brain broken. Holy fuck? Like, oh my God.
A series of posts on X, with him claiming that he was a ringleader of the chaos at Columbia. You also had the Anti-Defamation League cheering on the arrest, writing, "We appreciate the Trump administration's broad, bold set of efforts to counter campus anti-Semitism, and this action further illustrates that resolve by holding alleged perpetrators responsible for their actions." Though notably, even they seem to acknowledge the questionable legal ground here, adding that any deportation, action, or revocation of a green card or visa must be undertaken in alignment with required due process protections. Right, notably, we ended up seeing the ADL getting some flack for that post from many, including major commentators like Hasan, who shared that post and wrote, "The ADL thinks it's okay to revoke the green card of student activists." This is supposed to be a civil rights organization, by the way. But for now, that is where we are. Of course, this is a developing situation. Things are subject to change. So while we keep an eye on this, in the meantime,
Lol, you're advocating for terrorism just like the person who was deported. Might want to change your rhetoric. Suck my fucking dick, bitch. Okay? Suck it dry from the back. You understand me? Suck my fucking dick. You dumb bitch. Imagine coming in here to be like, yeah, that's right. You better fucking recognize, dude. Trump is going to come after you too. You baby-brained coward. You can sit around and hope, okay? And maybe it will happen, but that will never change your fucking moral depravity, okay? I am just one fucking person. I'm just one guy. That will never change the fact that you are a repugnant little coward egging on a fucking fascist administration. It is because in your heart you know that you are supporting baby killers. Okay, you are supporting it, and deep down inside, there's a little person in you that you're trying to fucking silence desperately. That is telling you maybe it's not right, maybe it's not appropriate. Okay, what's real terrorism in this process? You think terrorizing green card holders for the crime of hurting Israel's feelings as it's conducting a genocide? What's real terrorism? Actively murdering babies with American weapons or resisting against that? Dipshits. Yeah, keep hoping that the Trump administration will pack up all of the naysayers. One day, there will not be a single person to defend you when you are in the crosshairs. Okay? You should be lucky that people like myself and many others in progressive spaces will unconditionally fight for your rights. Regardless, we'll do the work necessary even when you don't recognize what the fuck is going on, dumbass. And maybe we'll fail. There have been many failures such as this one throughout history, but you certainly will not have an easy go at it, I promise.